The Geet Ruler Episode Number 95 Explanation. The interior of the gigantic mountain cave appeared exceedingly hot and dry as a large cloud of white mist enveloped within. Within, one could faintly discern a figure sitting quietly on the ground, and was also the source of the high temperatures within the mountain cave. The ground within appeared to be in a cracked state as fissures extended across the mountain cave from the figure. Boom! Low and deep sounds rang from within the white mist as Mu Chen's fists heavily hammered the ground, instantly causing cracks to rapidly extend further. Both of his arms were completely encased in a layer of dark red blood clots. This color, which could only form after multiple layers of dried-up blood, would cause a ghastly sight to the hearts of anyone that could see it. Although Mu Chen was in a sitting position, his body was crunched up, with labored and painful pants continuously ringing out from his throat. The blood fire within his body had already continued burning close to 10 whole days. Within these 10 days, he was seemingly always enduring such frightening pain and agony, with the flesh and blood within his body continuously being burnt and roasted by the blood fire as they underwent their tempering. Although Mu Chen was clearly able to sense the blood fire burning within his body, with the energy contained within his flesh and blood starting to become increasingly tempered, the pain and agony felt by him had also continued to rise and increase. Generally speaking, the duration of a human body disaster would be about 7 to 8 days. However, Mu Chen had already been in such a state for 10 whole days. Furthermore, there still wasn't any sign of this coming to a stop. However, all of this was well within the expectations of Mu Chen. With how tyrannical his fleshly body was, the human body disaster that resulted from it would naturally be even more frightening. Now, what he needed to do was to clench his teeth and continue to endure. He believed that if he could endure, there would be a gigantic progression of his strength as a result of this. Crackle! Blood continued to seep from the surface of the dried-up blood before quickly evaporating away, transforming into patches of dark red dried-up blood that merged with the layer already present there. Opening his eyes with much difficulty, his vision clearly appeared somewhat blurry at this moment. Using his strength to swing his head from side to side, yet another shiver shook through his body as it seemed that the blood fire burning within his body had grown stronger yet again. This burning sensation appeared to pierce through his flesh and blood, encasing his entire body, wanting to turn him into ashes. How can my journey stop here? As the intense pain and agony continued to spread across his body, Mu Chen tightly clenched his fists as roars resounded within his heart. Over the past few years, he had experienced God knows how many life-or-death situations. Youths that were able to possess such a resilient and tenacious personality wouldn't be there for no reason, but was something that was built and tempered from being in life-or-death situations time after time again. He had promised his father to personally bring his mother back. He had also promised the young girl that would always be in his heart, no matter where he went, that he would become an unrivaled expert, to block the wind and rain and protect her. Therefore, how could something as small as a human body disaster obstruct him from his path of progress? With a forceful bite, Mu Chen finally devoured the divine immortal fruit he had held in his mouth since the start. Instantly, a cool, refreshing and pure energy started to radiate from within his body. This refreshing feeling caused Mu Chen to have the implosion of moaning out in happiness. At this moment, his blurry consciousness started to become clear once again. Raw? Raw? As the refreshing energies of the divine immortal fruit started to spread within his body, the blood fire grew increasingly vigorous, appearing to be attempting to completely burn away the incoming energies. Do you think such a puny human body disaster could stop me? Mu Chen roared within his heart. Clenching his teeth tightly, he continued to endure the intense pain and agony omnipresent across his body. He definitely needed to win this war. The scorching hot temperatures within the mountain cave rapidly increased as suppressed bestial-like roars continued to ring within the steam-like white mist around Mu Chen's body. As of now, he had no path of retreat. The only thing he could do was to persist all the way till the end. Time continued to elapse under Mu Chen's perseverance. In a blink of an eye, 5 more days had passed. 3 figures hovered in the skies outside of the mountain caves, which were Xu Huang, Wen Qingxuan, and Mu Fengyan. Mu Chen and Luo Li seemed to show no signs of coming out. Looking towards the 2 tightly shut mountain caves before them, Xu Huang said helplessly while shrugging his shoulders. Their human body disasters had taken merely 5 days before ending. Furthermore, due to the divine immortal fruit, it could be said that they had passed through it without any life-threatening danger. Therefore, not only had they obtained a great increase in their strength, they were now considered to be genuine experts at the realm of human body disaster. Mu Chen should be just like us and undergoing his human body disaster, right? Why is he taking so long? Asked Wen Qingxuan in doubt. There's only one possibility, replied Xu Huang as he shook his head. Before even passing his human body disaster, the strength of Mu Chen's fleshly body is even stronger than experts who have passed their human body disaster. Therefore, his human body disaster would be even more frightening than ours, while taking greater time to complete. Thus, don't compare what he's going through now to what we have done. As he gave his reply, one could hear somewhat of a sob in his voice. All of them had saw Mu Chen start at the beginning as an unassuming freshman, taking one step at a time all the way to become the #1 person of their Northern Heaven Spiritual Academy. Although all of them were also working hard to improve and progress, from the looks of it now, they were still tossed far behind and unable to reach up towards where he was. In this universe, there's always bound to be some people who would possess monstrous talents. Wanting to chase after them would be something that was futile. What about Luo Li? She's also still closed up, said Mu Fengyang as he looked towards the other tightly shut mountain cave, the place where Luo Li had been isolated in. Till now, not a single movement of wanting to come out could be sensed from within. Hearing that, Xu Huang and Wen Qingxuan exchanged glances with each other, noticing the doubt present in each other's eyes. Luo Li had long already passed her human body disaster. As of now, with her being isolated for so long, could it be that she was also making a breakthrough? That meant to say, that as of now, she was attempting her spiritual energy disaster? Thinking about this point, shock and astonishment filled the hearts of Xu Huang and the other two, while causing some excitement to gush from within. If Luo Li's able to successfully pass her spiritual energy disaster, that would be a great increase in the combat strength of their group. At that time, they would truly possess the strength to rival those elite groups present in this great spiritual academy tournament. Since we can't interfere with their breakthroughs, it's best that we quietly wait for them here. Both Mu Chen and Luo Li are extraordinary. I think that they will succeed in the end, said Xu Huang. Hearing that, both Wen Qingxuan and Mu Fengyang nodded their heads. Both of them knew that regardless of Mu Chen's human body disaster or Luo Li's spiritual energy disaster, they would absolutely be much harder than what ordinary people have to experience. However, all of them had absolute confidence in the two. There's no need to talk about Mu Chen, as the dazzling accomplishments he had achieved over the last 2 years in the Northern Heaven Spiritual Academy was more than sufficient for them to sigh in admiration. As for Luo Li, she didn't participate in the contest for the so-called glory within the Northern Heaven Spiritual Academy, which resulted in her only being ranked 10th on the heavenly rankings at the start of the Great Spiritual Academy tournament. However, the strength that she possessed was something that no one among them would dare to underestimate, including Mu Chen. That's because ever since her entry into the Northern Heaven Spiritual Academy till now, there was yet to be someone that had seen Luo Li take action without the slightest bit of restraint. No one was clear exactly how tyrannical this absolutely beautiful young girl was. Even Mu Chen wasn't able to confirm this point. Merely, while they were in the academy, that young girl had habitually kept quiet and stood by Mu Chen's side, faintly smiling as she observed him obtain dazzling accomplishments one after the other. Therefore, everyone would unknowingly forget that this young girl, whose beauty was unrivaled in the Northern Heaven Spiritual Academy, would in fact possess the strength that rivaled her astonishing appearance. While Xu Huang and the other two quietly waited for Mu Chen and Luo Li to leave their closed training, they did not know that in a place far away from them, beams of light were quietly shooting across the skies. The direction those beams of light were shooting towards was precisely the location where Mu Chen and his group were. There were quite a few of those beams of light. Furthermore, shooting across the horizon, tyrannical spiritual energy fluctuations radiated from them. Clearly, not a single one of these people were weaklings. Rays of brilliance sparkled on the top of a mountain peak, before 5 elegant and beautiful figures surfaced from within. They slight swayed as they appeared, painting an exceedingly alluring sight. At the helm of these 5 figures was a familiar face. Beautiful, noble, prideful, akin to a phoenix soaring across the 9 heavens, enjoying the countless gazes of admiration shooting from the earth below. She was Wen Qingxuan. "Captain, it seems that there's quite a few people that have the same goal as us," said two exceedingly cute and lovable young girls standing behind Wen Qingxuan as they looked towards the beams of light shooting across the horizon. Their sweet voices rang like two black night orioles. Hearing their words, Wen Qingxuan gently nodded her head, her slender finger starting to lazily twirl a lock of her long black hair. Slightly tilting her head, she shot a gaze towards the targeted direction with her beautiful eyes, before saying with a sweet smile, "Although the number of points Mu Chen's group have didn't increase for the last half a month, for the time being, they are still within the top 16. Therefore, their location would naturally be exposed to everyone. What's more, there are even some people that are circulating news about Mu Chen's group having obtained the Divine Palace's invitation of the Divine Wood Palace. It seems that there's a complete ancient inheritance in the Divine Wood Palace. Therefore, there's quite a few groups rushing towards them. Captain, the location of Mu Chen's group has not changed since they appeared. Could it be that they don't know that they've long been locked on and encircled by those groups eyeing towards them?" A frown appeared on a golden-haired young girl with a rather fiery figure standing by Wen Qingxuan's side as she spoke out. "Not changing their location for an entire half a month." A faint smile appeared on Wen Qingxuan's face as she replied, "They should be cultivating. This is truly interesting. In a situation where their location has been revealed, they actually dared to brazenly close up and cultivate. This Mu Chen truly has quite some courage." "Captain, do we need to take action to chase those groups away?" asked the identical-looking twins with sweet smiles present on their faces. "No need." Waving her hand, an arc curled up from the corner of Wen Qingxuan's mouth as she replied, "We can take advantage of this to see exactly what ability this blood calamity of the spiritual road has. If he doesn't have any ability, then don't blame me for snatching away the person of his heart." Speaking till here, Wen Qingxuan extended her slender fingers towards the far distance, before slowing clenching them into a fist. At this moment, the smile present at the corner of her little mouth was brimming with soul-stirring appeal. "Luo Li, I've finally found you." Mountain peaks quietly towered over a desolated mountain range as the entire stretch of the world appeared to be in state of silent desolation, with the only sounds present being the gales billowing and wreaking havoc across the entire region. Xu Huang, Zhao Qingshan, and Mu Fengyang quietly sat on one of the mountain peaks present there. From time to time, their gazes would look towards the two mountain caves that were still tightly shut, before giving helpless smiles in response. If the time was added up, the period of time which Mu Chen and Luo Li had closed up seemed to have already lasted for close to 20 whole days. If Mu Chen and Luo Li were truly attempting their human body disaster and spiritual energy disaster respectively, wouldn't that mean that they had been persisting for close to 20 days already? Just the thought of this point was enough to send shivers crawling over the bodies of the trio. Having experienced the pain and suffering one had to endure when one was breaking through their human body disaster, they knew it felt akin to one's body being burned into ashes, something that would truly cause dread and terror in people's hearts. Their human body disasters had only lasted for 5 to 6 days, with them narrowly avoiding defeat in their attempts. However, as of now, Mu Chen and Luo Li had already persisted for 20 days. If during all this time, they were under the frightening pain and agony of being burnt alive, exactly how frightening was their endurance and willpower? Thinking about this, the hearts of Xu Huang and the other two palpitated as they gave a sigh, whilst some unconcealable respect gushed from within them. When ordinary people saw Mu Chen and Luo Li, they would only see their impressive strength. However, who would know exactly how much they would need to pay to obtain such strength? In this universe, strength didn't fall from the sky. Our ranking seems to have dropped to the 14th place. Zhao Qingshan took out his academy plaque to take a look. After being in isolated cultivation for such a long period of time, with no increase in the points they possessed, other groups had already caught up to them. As of now, they were about to be kicked of the top 16. "It's all right if we drop from it," said Xu Huang with a smile as he shook his head. "It's still too early for us to contest for the top 16. If we stay on the rankings, other people will pay attention to our whereabouts. At that time, the feeling of being stared at all the time wouldn't be good at all." Hearing that, Mu Fengyang nodded his head in reply. As of now, the Great Spiritual Academy tournament was just gradually ramping up. There was no need to put too much importance towards the number of points they had. Previously, Mu Chen had also said that points weren't important in this phase of the tournament. What's more important was their strength. After all, without adequate strength, snatching away too many points would only result in serving those points to other people on a silver platter. Let's wait for Mu Chen and Luo Li to smoothly come out from their breakthroughs. Then, we can head out to find the true remnant of the Divine Wood Palace. At that time, our group would absolutely not be inferior to any other group. A scorching hot gaze shot out from Xu Huang's eyes. Previously, following behind Mu Chen, they had only rushed into a remnant of the Divine Wood Palace's branch, before breaking through their human body disasters. Such a rate of progress could simply be classified as incredible. Just the benefits they had obtained in this branch remnant was already so gigantic. How would the remnant of the genuine Divine Wood Palace be any less extravagant? Maybe, at that time, they might even be able to rush and attempt their spiritual energy disasters. Furthermore, if they were to succeed in their breakthroughs, their group would finally be able to truly reach their strongest state. At that time, they would have absolute confidence and challenge any group participating in this Great Spiritual Academy tournament. Zhao Qingxuan and Mu Fengyang fiercely nodded their heads in agreement, their eyes similarly brimming with the anticipation towards the remnant of the genuine Divine Wood Palace. It said that presently, there was the existence of a genuine inheritance from the ancient antiquity. If they were able to obtain it, it would have an extremely great benefit for their future accomplishments. Naturally, though, although the Divine Wood Palace was exceedingly enticing, all of them knew that the three of them didn't have the capability to contest for it. It was only due to Mu Chen and Luo Li's lead that they were able to possess such confidence in pushing forward with this plan. After all, just the remnant of a branch of the Divine Wood Palace had them contending against powerful groups with people the likes of Xie Hu and Zhen Qing. At that time, the groups they would encounter in the remnant of the genuine Divine Wood Palace would naturally be even stronger than the previous two groups. Oh! As Xu Huang and the other two were having a chat, shiver suddenly shook through their minds as they raised their heads to look towards the distant horizon. Suddenly, urgent whooshing sounds rang from that location, with numerous tyrannical spiritual energy fluctuations radiating from there, too. Clearly, there were quite a few people rushing over from there. As the trio exchanged glances, the expressions on their faces changed as they abruptly stood up. With a clench of their hands, three long spears radiating with fierce energy fluctuations appeared in a flash as they vigilantly stared towards the direction where the whooshing sounds were coming from. From the looks of the sounds ringing from there, it seemed like all of them were rushing towards their location. Xu Huang and the other two weren't that stupid to believe that those people rushing into such a deserted region were taking a stroll. After all, with them being in the top 16, their location was clearly broadcasted on all of the academy plaques. Speaking of which, they appeared just like fat succulent sheep. If all of those fellows were rushing towards them. Dark shadows surfaced within the eyes of Xu Huang and the other two. As of now, Mu Chen and Luo Li were still in their isolation cultivation and could not be disturbed, so they would have to protect those two till they came out. Prepare to take action. Even if we have to risk our lives, we cannot let them interfere and disturb Mu Chen and Luo Li, said Xu Huang in a solemn voice, with his gaze turning frosty. Hearing that, Zhao Qingxuan and Mu Fengyang both nodded their heads as their gazes morphed into the likes of fierce wolves. Whoosh! Whoosh! Under the vigilant gazes of Xu Huang and the other two, flashes of light sparkled in the distant horizon as beams of light streaked across, quickly heading towards the mountain peak the trio were on. From the looks of it, there were 30 people at the very least, appearing to constitute 6 to 7 groups. Furthermore, Xu Huang and the other two could sense that everyone present in those groups were fierce and of elite caliber, their gazes were swift and fierce, while powerful spiritual energy fluctuations gushing out of their bodies. At the very least, half of the 30 people had passed their human body disaster. As the Great Spiritual Academy tournament ramps up, due to the countless large and small remnants present on this shattered continent, the strength of quite a few groups had clearly risen drastically as a result. Perhaps, at the very beginning, a group possessing a member of human body disaster would already be considered as a pretty good group. However, after a month since the start, things had gradually started to change. The cultivation realm of human body disaster was no longer sufficient to command respect in people. That's because there were even more people that were relying on the various kinds of benefits they'd gotten in the shattered continent to start to obtain breakthroughs in their cultivation. Solemn expressions appeared on the faces of Xu Huang and the other two, since the 6 to 7 groups heading towards them gave them immense pressure. From the looks of their movements, those 6 to 7 groups seemed to be working together and not working individually. This caused them to feel slightly overwhelmed with shock. At what time during this great spiritual academy tournament did such a formation actually appear from? Other than the groups from their own academies, the groups participating in this great spiritual academy tournament were largely antagonistic to one another. Wanting to come together to collaborate wasn't an easy thing to accomplish, just like the collaboration between Xie Hu and Zhen Qing. Although they were in an alliance, both of them had their own reserved thoughts and plans, and were utilizing each other for their personal benefits and had restrained their strength. This made it hard for the both of them to bring forth their greatest combat capabilities. However, this mysterious crowd of groups was actually collaborating with a rather high level of perfection. Although they didn't dare to say that the crowd was even more perfect in working together than their own group, the trio were able to see that this was a genuine alliance of groups. Exactly where did these fellows pop out from? From the looks of it, it seems that none of the groups are from any elite spiritual academies. While Xu Huang and the other two were reeling in shock, the crowd of groups had already appeared in the skies above the mountain peak they were on. Among them, a figure slowly walked out. It was a youth dressed in black robes, with a sinister gaze present on his face. His thin lips looked just like the edges of a knife, causing people to feel his ill intent with a single look. Looking towards Xu Huang and the other two standing on the mountain peak, wrinkles appeared on his forehead as he said with an indifferent tone, "Are you the group from the Northern Heaven Spiritual Academy? Is your captain, Mu Chen? Who are you? What are you all planning to do?" roared Xu Huang in a deep voice. "I'm Chen Shi. As for what we're here for," a mocking smile surfaced at the corner of the black-robed youth's mouth as he replied. "We naturally have a fancy for the points you have. What's more, there's also the divine quota from the Divine Wood Palace, which should belong to Zhen Qing." Suddenly, he turned his gaze to look at the two tightly shut mountain caves. Raising his forehead, he said, "So it turns out that he's in isolated training, making a hasty last-ditch effort. This is truly interesting. I'm afraid that you won't be able to snatch the things in our hands," growled Xu Huang with a sneer. At this moment, he clearly wanted to obtain more time for Mu Chen and Luo Li. "Even Mu Chen doesn't have the qualifications to say such words to me. As for you three fellows who have just passed through your human body disasters, who do you think you are? The Northern Heaven Spiritual Academy's merely like that," said Chen Shi with an indifferent smile. Not being a person that would do a sloppy job, he didn't say too much useless banter. With a casual wave of his hand, he gave his command. "Capture them before smashing those mountain caves for me." "Yes." 5 figures instantly roared in reply behind him, before shooting forward, and immediately rushed straight towards Xu Huang and the other two. These 5 people had all passed their human body disasters. "Let's duke it out." Fierce expressions appeared on the faces of Xu Huang and the other two as they tightly clenched their long spears. Faced against such a tyrannical formation, they didn't have any intent of retreating. With low roars, the trio rushed forward, heading straight towards the incoming 5 people. Boundless spiritual energy instantly erupted from them, obstructing the 5 from gaining any ground. Bang! Bang! Boundless spiritual energy swept out. Although they were in a 3-against-5 match-up, relying on their viciousness, their opponents were unable to gain so much as an inch in their advance. While a huge battle erupted there, 5 exquisite figures surfaced on the top of a mountain peak located a distance away. Those 5 figures merely shot a look towards the direction where the battle was taking place, with no signs of wanting to take any action. "Captain, the captain of that Northern Heaven Spiritual Academy group seems to be in isolated cultivation. How will they be able to defend against so many people with just 3 members?" asked one of the 2 lovable twins in a sweet voice as they scanned the location with their beautiful eyes. Slightly lifting her head up, Wen Qingxuan showed her slender and snow-white neck, which appeared akin to the grace shown by a swan. With a sweet smile, she replied, there's no need to care about that, since that's their business. Furthermore, I feel that the renowned blood calamity of the spiritual road should not be so easily dealt with, even when encountering such trouble. Let's wait here and see, for the time being. As she gave her reply, Zhenshi was looking indifferently towards Xu Huang and the other two that were giving their all to obstruct the advance of the 5 people. Sweeping his gaze towards the 2 tightly shut mountain caves, he gave a flick of his finger towards the space. Instantly, fierce spiritual energy transformed into a ray of light, shooting out before fiercely smashing against one of the mountain caves. At the same time, a cold roar resounded akin to a clap of thunder. "Mu Chen, come out!" Bang! Boundless glowing spiritual energy rays smashed against the mountain cave, instantly causing the entire mountain peak to intensely shake. Gigantic fissures immediately extended across the entire mountain peak as giant rocks tumbled down, finally shattering into bits and pieces as they smashed against the ground. Bastard! Upon seeing this, the faces of Xu Huang and the other 2 instantly turned cold as their gazes grew malevolent. The long spears in their hands immediately danced about, bringing about intense killing intent as they sent erratic all-out attacks straight towards the 5 human body disaster experts. Not a single bit of defensive intent was present in their kamikaze attacks, causing the faces of the 5 to change as they hastily retreated back, not daring to risk their lives to contend against the trio. However, although they didn't dare to risk their lives to contend with the trio, relying on their advantage in numbers, they were finally able to suppress and keep the trio under control. With this, the trio was unable to extricate themselves to protect the mountain cave. Zhenshi indifferently looked towards the mountain cave that he had attacked. As giant rocks continued to fall down and shatter apart, creating clouds of dust that spread out, the giant rock that sealed the cave was rapidly collapsing apart, before finally splitting into pieces in the end. Seeing the mountain cave finally being opened, Zhenshi gave another point at the space before him, sending yet another ray of spiritual energy sweeping out. Traveling at lightning speed, it smashed straight into the open mountain cave. Boom! Rampant spiritual energy wreaked havoc within the mountain cave, causing massive sounds to ring out from within. Zhenshi's move was exceedingly vicious. If there was truly someone that was attempting to break through, the person within would suffer serious injuries in response to such shock. At that time, the person within would fail in their breakthrough, while similarly suffering unimaginably serious injuries from the backlash of this failure as well. "Go. Toss out all of the people inside for me," said Zhenshi with a faint smile as he waved his hand. Immediately after saying this, 3 figures shot out yet again from behind, with the spiritual energy fluctuations rippling from them having reached the realm of human body disaster. The 3 figures shot towards the interior of the mountain cave at lightning speed, before disappearing within. However, not a single bit of commotion appeared after this. Seeing this, the face of Zhenshi slightly changed as he watched with a dark look at the jet-black interior of the mountain cave. Unexpectedly, there were no movements detected ever since he had sent the 3 people in the cave. Furthermore, there wasn't any sign of them coming out. From the looks of it, they had all been dealt with at the instant they had entered the mountain cave. Such an unforeseen outcome caused Zhenshi to feel slightly shocked. After all, he had yet to feel any spiritual energy fluctuations radiating from the mountain cave. Clearly, before they could even take action, those 3 people had already been dealt with. Wanting to deal with 3 experts of human body disaster in such a short instant wasn't a task that could be easily accomplished. HMPH. Do the people from the Northern Heaven Spiritual Academy only know how to hide and show their tails? Sneered Zhenshi with a cold and fierce gaze in his eyes. From the looks of it, his earlier destruction didn't yield much effect as the person cultivating within had successfully broke through long beforehand. Bang! Bang! As Zhenshi's voice rang out, suddenly, 3 dark figures flew out from the mountain cave, before tumbling and descending down like thrown balls, forming 3 giant holes in the ground. As everyone looked over, everyone's faces instantly contorted as all of them saw the 3 figures lying within, drenched in blood. The trio was the 3 human body disaster experts that had rushed into the mountain just moments ago. However, at this very moment, no one exactly knew if they were alive or dead. Looking at the 3 figures lying in the holes on the ground, Zhenshi tightly clenched his teeth, his gaze turning cold and dark as he stared towards the jet-black cave before him. Suddenly, rustling sounds rang out as footsteps were heard coming from within. As the footsteps gradually grew closer, a figure slowly broke through the darkness. Finally, he appeared in the sunlight, appearing in the presence of all of the gazes shooting over from the surroundings. Upon being able to clearly see the figure, everyone was in shock. That's because what they saw was a figure covered in thick layers of dried-up blood, causing people to feel shock and astonishment upon him appearing in their sights. Standing before the mountain cave, not a single shred of emotion was present in the blood-covered figure's eyes as he looked towards Chen Shi and the other groups hovering in the skies. With a slight shiver of his body, the layers of dried-up blood started to crack, before completely splitting apart. As the pieces fell to the ground, Mu Chen appeared once again before everyone. At this moment, his upper body was completely bare, revealing his ramrod-straight body. There were no iron-like lumps of muscles present on his body, with him appearing slightly skinny and frail. However, despite having a body that appeared slightly skinny and frail, one could faintly discern the heart-palpitating feeling of frightening power radiating from him. In the air, upon seeing Mu Chen, who had successfully come out of his cultivation, ecstasy immediately erupted from the hearts of Xu Huang and the other two, with them taking a breath of relief, as if a heavy weight was lifted from their shoulders. At the very least, Mu Chen's all right. Standing under the rays from the sun, the sunlight illuminated Mu Chen's figure, causing his body to sparkle with faint rays of brilliance, appearing as if he was made of jade. As his black hair swayed and gently fluttered in the breeze, his eyes appeared as abstruse as the dark night skies. He's quite handsome. On the mountain peak in the distance, the eyes of the two lovable and cute twins opened wide and instantly lit up as they noticed the youth standing ramrod straight under the sunlight. He is the blood calamity of the spiritual road, Mu Chen. Slight amazement was present in the eyes of Wen Qingxuan as she looked towards the figure standing under the sunlight. From the looks of it, he truly appeared to be quite good-looking. The only thing that wasn't known was how capable he was. His cultivation realm of human body disaster wasn't considered to be all too strong. Clearly, she was able to see through Mu Chen's current realm of cultivation with a single look. However, regardless of her preliminary view, Wen Qingxuan wasn't stupid. If the Mu Chen before her eyes only possessed strength on the level of human body disaster, he would not be able to walk all the way till this stage. Furthermore, there was the first-hand proof that those 3 human body disaster experts that rushed into his cave weren't able to put up much of a resistance before being knocked out and tossed out like garbage by him. Could it be that there's no one from your spiritual academies that taught you that disturbing other people's training isn't a considerate action? Raising his head, Mu Chen looked towards the dark-eyed Chen Shi and the others before saying with a faint smile. Staring back at Mu Chen, Chen Shi sneered before replying, "So you're the captain of this group, Mu Chen?" Hearing that, Mu Chen smiled and nodded his head. "Hand over the Divine Wood quota of the Divine Wood Palace and I'll let you and your group leave," said Chen Shi in a slow manner as he extended his palm out. With a smile, Mu Chen shook his head. Looking straight into Chen Shi's eyes, which had turned cold and dark, he replied, "Hand your points over to me and I'll only knock you all out." Puff. Hearing those words, sweet laughing sounds immediately rang out from the pair of cute twin young girls standing on top of a distant mountain peak. Stupid death-seeking idiot. The corner of Chen Shi's mouth twitched as flames of fury gushed from his eyes. Is this Mu Chen a dumb idiot? He had over 15 experts of human body disaster behind him, with he himself being of spiritual energy disaster. As for the rest, all of them were of heavenly completion stage late phase. With such a lineup, even experts of spiritual energy disaster would turn around and run away in the face of them. However, this Mu Chen had actually dared to recklessly challenge all of them. "Everyone take action. Grab him and cripple him," roared Chen Shi sinisterly. "Yes." Hearing that, the experts standing beside him instantly roared in reply, before shooting gazes of ill intent towards Mu Chen. In the next instant, their figures shot out. As boundless spiritual energy swept from them, the spiritual energy of the world flared up as a dozen rays of earth-shattering spiritual energy rushed towards Mu Chen. However, faced with such astonishing attacks heading his way, Mu Chen still remained standing right outside of the mountain cave, with not the slightest bit of movement detected from him. Bang! Bang! The powerful attacks came enveloping over, violently smashing against his body. Instantly, spiritual energies wreaked havoc, causing the entire mountain to appear as if it was collapsing. Ha! This person's so stupid. He doesn't even try to dodge. The voices of the twins instantly rang out in shock. Seeing this, Wen Qingxuan faintly raised her eyes to look towards the place where the spiritual energies were wreaking havoc in. However, at this moment, her gaze started to slightly freeze. You're looking to die? Noticing the cloud of smoke and dust rising and sweeping out, a sinister smile rose from the corner of Chen Shi's mouth. Faced against such a barrage of attacks, even experts of spiritual energy disaster would not dare to meet it head-on. Yet, this Mu Chen was truly stupid to the point of doing so. Could he be that stupid? This is truly amusing. However, his mocking laughter didn't continue on, because once the cloud of dust had dissipated away, a thin, half-naked figure still quietly stood at the same spot as before. Seeing this, the smile on Chen Shi's face started to slowly freeze up. Xu Huang and the other two took a deep breath of relief as they wiped away their sweat-filled foreheads. Patting away the inexistent dust on his body, Mu Chen lowered his head to take a look, before nodding his head in satisfaction. After passing his human body disaster, his fleshly body was already that tyrannically powerful. In the previous barrage of attacks, he had not summoned forth any spiritual energy to defend against them, having completely depended on his physique as defense. Before he had passed through his human body disaster, he would definitely not be that brazen. However, as of now, he was entirely different from before. From the looks of it, you do not approve of my suggestion, huh? Looking towards Chen Shi, Mu Chen gave a faint smile as he spoke out. Yet, there was not a slightest trace of warmth present in that smile. Since that's the case, I've no choice but to take action. Take action and deal with him now. Chen Shi roared with a dark shadow present in his eyes, while his expression grew much more solemn. So it turned out that the reason why Mu Chen's able to defeat Chen Qing and his group was due to him possessing some ability. However, with his extraordinary lineup present, once all of them took action, he did not believe that Mu Chen would be able to create any waves at all. However, just as his cold roar rang out, astonishing sword cries suddenly erupted from the mountain peak behind Mu Chen. In the next instant, a ray of sword aura abruptly rushed towards the clouds. As the sword aura swept out, even the mountain peak was sliced into two, as if it was as soft as tofu, with the two sliced halves appearing as smooth as glass. As the sword aura wreaked havoc across the region, a beam of light shot out, before landing by Mu Chen's side. As the brilliance dissipated away, it revealed an absolutely beautiful young girl within. This young girl held a long sword in her hand, with her long hair shining with a silvery luster, while her glass-like eyes appeared so beautiful it caused people to become intoxicated just by looking at her. Luo Li had also successfully come out from her isolated cultivation. At the mountain peak in the distance, soul-stirring splendor surfaced in the eyes of Wen Qingxuan, who had always maintained her languid manner. Looking at the familiar beautiful figure in the distance, an alluring arc slowly curled up at the corner of her mouth. Luo Li, I finally get to see you again. As Luo Li's slender body appeared right by Mu Chen's side, the sword aura that blotted the skies rapidly converged together, before completely entering her body. However, the mountain peak that was sliced into two showed exactly how fierce the previous wave of sword aura was. Luo Li has also come out. Xu Huang and the other two were in joy as they looked towards Luo Li, before finally breathing a sigh of relief as another heavy weight was taken off their shoulders. Mu Chen's gaze was similarly filled with shock as he looked towards the slender and elegant young girl. Naturally, he was able to sense the faint spiritual energy pressure radiating from Luo Li's body. The sensation of this pressure was clearly much more powerful than before. You've passed your spiritual energy disaster, asked Mu Chen in astonishment. With a sweet smile, Luo Li gently nodded her head. Seeing her reply, Mu Chen immediately turned speechless, before feeling slightly depressed. It seemed that Luo Li was always present above his head. Although one's spiritual energy cultivation didn't represent one's true combat prowess, every time he broke through and assumed that he would be on equal grounds, the latter would similarly break through herself, thereby tossing him behind yet again. Looks like it isn't that easy for you to surpass me. Seeing the slightly depressed Mu Chen, A witty shadow unconsciously flashed within her clear and transparent beautiful eyes. In the next instant, she raised her snow-white chin towards him with slight satisfaction. She, who was always quiet like a lotus, would only show an attitude that ordinary young girls would possess in front of Mu Chen. Rolling his eyes unhappily at her, Mu Chen said, "Don't provoke me. If not, even if you've passed your spiritual energy disaster, I'm still able to smack your butt." A deep reddish shade surfaced across Luo Li's face and ears as she heard his words, before a slight shadow of embarrassment surfaced within her eyes as she replied, "Pervert." If it were other people that said such frivolous words to her, she might have long sent her sword thrusting out. However, faced against Mu Chen, she could only embarrassedly stare towards him, a bearing appearing exceedingly alluring and soul-moving. HMPH. Seeing the two lovebirds flirting with each other, Chen-Shi could not help becoming enraged. The flames of fury burning in his eyes had grown even denser. With a sneer, he roared, "Mu Chen, do you really not plan to hand over the divine wood plaque?" Panning his head across to sweep his gaze towards Chen-Shi, Mu Chen gave a clench of his hand, causing the divine wood plaque to appear within. Waving it around, he replied, "Are you talking about this?" Spotting the divine wood plaque in Mu Chen's hand, a flash instantly gushed from Chen-Shi's eyes. Greedily licking his lips, he said, "Hand it over and I'll not give you any trouble. You are not worthy to have it." Hearing that, Mu Chen only gave a smile back in return. Shaking his head, he replied in a soft voice, "Rejected." "You?" Flames of fury instantly gushed from Chen-Shi's face. Clearly, he had also discovered that Mu Chen was playing with him. In the next instant, he said with a sinister and deceitful tone, "Mu Chen, I'll advise you to not be mistaken about yourself. Although you come from one of the 5 great academies, it is our Academy Alliance that has the say in this great spiritual academy tournament. If you really do provoke us, I'll guarantee that you won't even have the chance to retire from the tournament." Academy Alliance? Mu Chen slightly raised his eyebrows as he asked, "What the hell is that?" As he said those words, he shook his head as his gaze slowly started to grow cold. "Since you guys don't want to leave by yourselves, then all of you shall stay. Take action together and finish all of them." Chen-Shi was endlessly maddened by Mu Chen's attitude. Does this fellow truly think that he will be able to defeat over 30 of us by himself and his group? As his roar rang out, his hands abruptly came together to form a seal. In the next instant, powerful spiritual energy swept out like a storm, unexpectedly forming a gigantic stone tablet before him. Sparkling with dazzling rays of brilliance, mysterious patterns covered the entirety of its surface. At the same time, unique fluctuations started to radiate from it. Behind Chen-Shi, the dozen experts present there had also fiercely roared in succession, sending boundless spiritual energies gushing out. Transforming into beams of light, they shot straight into the stone tablet. Hum. Hum. As boundless spiritual energy poured into it, the radiant stone tablet drastically increased in size, instantly growing to a gigantic height of 1,000 meters. As its giant shadow came enveloping over, the entire mountain was covered in it. Instantly, exceedingly overbearing spiritual energy fluctuations rippled, causing the entire region to appear even darker and gloomier. "Let me see what qualifications you have to keep us here." Heaven-suppressing divine tablet. Chen-Shi's face turned slightly pale as he did his utmost to control the stone tablet that had everyone's spiritual energy condensed within. Locking his frosty gaze towards Mu Chen and Luo Li, a cold roar rang out from him, before the radiant stone tablet brought along its gigantic shadow as it pressed down towards Mu Chen's group at lightning speed. Raising her beautiful face, Luo Li looked towards the radiant stone tablet, before saying, "That person does have some ability. He's actually able to condense other people's spiritual energies into his own attack. Looks like the divine art that he had learnt is slightly mysterious." As her voice rang out, with the Luo God sword in her hand, Luo Li gracefully strode forward. With a shiver of her hand, sword light in the form of a silvery river abruptly rushed to the skies from the Luo God sword. Condensing together, it transformed into what seemed like a gigantic glowing shadow of a sword. Instantly, incomparably fierce sword intent radiated out, wreaking havoc across the region, before punching the mountain peak below it full of holes. Luo God Shadow Sword. Luo Li gave a tap with her slender snow-white hand in the space before her, causing the gigantic glowing sword shadow to howl. In the next instant, shooting across the horizon at lightning speed, it appeared right before the radiant stone tablet, smashing against it in a fierce head-on collision. This episode ends here. Thank you for watching.